Hello again everyone, Sue here from Maze with a little seasonal video for you. So every year at this time I always have loads of lovely cards and greetings and messages. So I thought what I'd do is do a little seasonal video for you here with my 5 Christmas gifts of wisdom. So my first little Christmas wisdom here for you is that sometimes when you think things are falling apart, it's actually the pieces falling into place. Quite often it can feel that life is very challenging for us with our children and it feels like everything's going wrong. And sometimes we just have to bear in mind that things need to get bad, they need to get worse before they can get better. So for example, we unfortunately have a school system that seems to work in the way that children have to first fail before they actually really properly get their needs met. With exclusions, for example, our children are more likely to suffer from school exclusions. But that's actually just evidence that the provision that's being made for the child is not a good match for their needs. So thinking in this way, thinking about things sometimes need to fall apart so they can fall back into place, helps us to make sure that something that feels negative can be turned into a positive. So my second gift of wisdom is that all behaviour has meaning. So our children often don't have the communication skills that they need to be able to communicate their thoughts and their feelings and their needs. Or maybe they're communicating somehow, but the message they think they're transmitting is not the message that we receive. So often children only have their behaviour to demonstrate what's really going on for them internally. So our job here is to observe what's happening, read the behaviour and try to understand it. That's not the same as excusing behaviour, but to remember that there's a meaning for this behaviour and we've got to try and work out what that is. Once we then understand what is the meaning of the behaviour, we can then think about how can we teach the child alternative skills that are going to serve a better function, or how can we better listen to what the child is actually telling us and take action. So here's my third bit of Christmas wisdom here, and that is respond, don't react. So at times when behaviours are really challenging and difficult, they're full of impact and emotion and stress and anger and all of those emotions. And it's very, very easy for us to get caught up and react according to our own emotions. But no situation really is ever resolved well in the long term by that kind of response. So it's much better to think about a response instead of a reaction. So here's what I mean. Instead of reacting by saying, "Stop doing that right now," you might think about a response that's something like, "I can see you're really upset." So that's a useful mantra to have in life generally, especially with our children, but you might find it useful in any situation that you're in where things are heated and emotional. So respond, don't react. So my fourth Christmas wisdom for you here is listen, acknowledge and solve together. Now this isn't my wisdom, this is the wisdom of my colleague and my very dear friend Dr. Siobhan Timmins, who taught me this acronym that has stayed with me and I tell families about all the time. And if you want to know more about Dr. Timmins, this last acronym she describes in her book here, Successful Social Stories for Young Children. And what it means, last, listen, acknowledge and solve together. So this is a really good strategy whether you're having difficulties within the family with children, or actually if you're in a discussion or in a meeting with other people, just any situation where there are two parties that don't see eye to eye. So the first part is about listen and really listen and acknowledge what that person is telling you. You might not agree with them and you don't have to, but what you need to get to is an idea about, well, together we can solve this, because listening really matters and it has a powerfully positive effect on everyone. And my fifth and final Christmas wisdom for you is you are the glue that holds your family together. So you must prioritise your well-being. Now I know most of you with families will be thinking about them and acting always out of love and kindness and empathy and compassion. And so what I would just urge you to do is to remember that if you're not doing well, your family won't be doing well. So those core values that you have, try and practice them on yourself. Love and kindness and empathy and compassion. Because if you prioritise your own well-being, you'll be prioritising the well-being of your whole family. So there you go, my 5 gifts of Christmas wisdom. So from me and my dogs, Leia and Luna, can you all have a really happy Christmas. Mwah!